welcome to the Avid Knits podcast. My name is Sarah, and you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, both as Avid Knits. Today is July 31st, and it is 95 degrees outside. Ask me how I know. I mowed the yard at 2 p.m. because that's what you do when you live in the hottest state ever. Yeah, so I did that. It's hot here. Welcome to Houston. Coming to you live from Houston. Yeah. So, hi, how is everybody? It's been a couple of weeks again. Yeah, I don't really have a reason for that. I just decided last week, it's weird. Some weeks I'm like, okay, I got a podcast and I want a podcast. I'm going to get to this point and I'm going to podcast. And then there are some weeks that Thursday night rolls around, I'm like, crap, I haven't podcast, I forgot. Okay, I'll do it tomorrow, and then that never happens. So usually when I take a week off, there's really no reason behind it. I'm just probably being lazy. Sorry, guys. So yeah, I'm not gonna say I have a whole ton of stuff to talk to you about, but I figured that I would come and just chit-chat and hang out with you guys and have a cup of coffee. You will have seen that in the intro. It's really funny. I texted my friend Jamie today and was like, I need motivation. Like, I need to dry my hair and record a podcast, and I don't have coffee, and who am I even? I need you just to make this happen. First, locate coffee and drink it. So I've located it, I've drank a little bit of it, and I'm going to work on the rest of it with you guys. So, thanks for the advice, Jamie. I needed it. Sometimes you just need your friends to, like, just yank you up, you know? So, I hope, coffee ground, weird. I hope everybody's having a really great summer. I hope the end of July has been good to you. If you are within the vicinity of Portland or New York or any of these states where unmarked feds have decided that they are going to strip you of your rights, I hope, the things. No, I hope you guys are being safe. Change is coming quickly in this country. So every time that you look at the news and you are disheartened, know change is coming. And take hope in that. You know, we're, you guys, we're on day 70 something of straight protesting, and that's fantastic. It's fantastic. But please remember that sit-ins and the March on Selma and all of those civil rights things, that took almost a year of straight activism. So pace yourselves. We're still early days. We can do this. Lots of things are going to change here. 3 months until the election. We're less than 100 days till election. Get yourself set up. Get yourself registered. It's super, super simple. Go to your state's website, and it will take you a literal 10 minutes. Get yourself registered. If you need one, please register for an absentee ballot. You're going to need to do that early in a lot of places because of the slowdown on mail. And I know that in the past it has been by the date that it's postmarked. So usually you can just send it out whenever. But this has been a very weird year. And I would not recommend that you take any chances. I would recommend that you just be prepared. Be ready for that. Here's your public service announcement. Voting is necessary. Your voice is absolutely important. Anytime that you get into the frame of mind of my one little voice can't change anything, you are voting for things to stay exactly the way they are. Things can change, but we all have to use our voices. We all have to do our parts. So if you and me do it and our 10 relatives at the dinner table don't do it, that's 20 voices between the two of us that we could have had. Please vote. Please vote. And that's all I'm going to say about that. Anybody, if this is your first episode, you're getting off light, please feel free to go back and watch the first episode. You'll learn a little bit about me. Thanks so much for stopping by, checking me out. If you are not new, and you know what's coming, I'm going to let you off with that lecture. There's so much going on right now, you guys. Protests in Portland. Now they're starting to look at New York. We have soldiers going missing and being brutally murdered by their chain of command, and we've got people in McAllen, Texas being held unconstitutionally because they're immigrants in hotels, and people who are trying to reach them, lawyers who are trying to reach them to provide them representation, are being physically assaulted and accosted by border control agents. Our president has decided that he's going to try to delay the election. FYI, he cannot do that. Congress has to do that, and it's going to take a whole lot more than this. This is a distraction. It is only a distraction. Please don't panic. Please don't get sidetracked. Focus on what's going on, because during all of this stuff that's happening over here, I don't know about you guys, but I haven't seen any media coverage of the giant hurricane that hit Puerto Rico, who hasn't recovered from Hurricane Maria a couple of years ago. And for those of you who are not aware, Puerto Ricans are American citizens. They just don't have the right to vote. It's a territory. So you don't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico, just like you don't need one for the Virgin Islands. The problem with Puerto Rico is that it's America's cash cow. Everybody goes there for tourism, and they rake in all the profits, and in exchange they give some government subsidies to the people of Puerto Rico, who live in pretty close to basic poverty, easily. And their infrastructure, they have an island that is smaller than the majority of large U.S. cities, but their infrastructure is what you would find in a rural town, like in Alaska, for the people who, like, don't really know if they want to have electricity, but sort of do, just in case you want the option of, like, indoor plumbing. So, Puerto Rico is a territory, but they're not considered Americans by any stretch, you know, obviously, because they're not given the rights that Americans should be given. And while the government is happy to make a profit off of the island, anytime the island actually needs them, they're nowhere to be found. There are crickets. So, if you can afford to, please donate to the relief. They are going to need some serious help. Maya West is under 6 feet of water. It's atrocious. It's absolutely atrocious. Thousands of people are without power again. It's an absolute nightmare again. So, vote, call your representatives, protest if you can. Real quick on the protest front, some background on me. I am prior service Army. My job was chemical and radiological and nuclear warfare. The government has a Geneva Convention agreement that basically we don't deploy chemical warfare against our enemies, and some of those are unless fired upon first basis. Some of those we just don't do it. But I am going to say that the CS riot gas that is being used on protesters right now is the most mild form of chemical warfare that we have, and it is not pretty. It's not pretty at all. And we don't really have a middle ground, y'all, okay? We have CS riot gas, which is, you know, safe. Severe quotation marks on that one. I guess it depends on what you determine safe, and whether or not you have a gas mask. But anything above that, you guys, we don't really have a middle ground. It gets pretty serious, and it gets serious fast. So if you are watching this and you are in a hot spot for protests, or where the police or the government has decided that they are going to attempt to stifle your right to protest, please, 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 oh my God, please, layer up, okay? There are people in Portland who are reporting that there's a new riot gas that's being used right now, and it's causing some pretty severe blistering. There are people who have been attending the protests from the CS gas, women who have been menstruating for almost 3 weeks straight, because CS gas messes with your internal organs and your internal systems. So if you are going to protest, please, please get yourself an actual respirator, get yourself a industrial or military grade canister mask. Take bottles of water, saline. Yeah, really, please be safe if you're going to protest. They've got some pretty wicked stuff that they're banking on civilians not knowing about. Cheers. I'm gonna hang on to it. All right, let's get into some knitting, guys. You came, you heard, you got your lecture. Appreciate you sticking around for that. I like to get important stuff out of the way in the beginning of the podcast, and I don't like to pretend that things are not happening. So last time I podcast, I was pretty quiet. I think we were all just really burned out, and I figured that I would just make my standard reminders and then go. But, you know, there's been a lot that's happened in the last 2 weeks, and it's not getting any better. But if you pay attention, you can see the signs of change. Change is coming. And just make sure you hold out, okay? All of us grew up. I don't know about the older generation. I don't know how many of you are older than I am, so excuse me if these references kind of fly over you. But my generation and the generation below me has been raised on, like, YA dystopian novels, like The Hunger Games and... what's the other one? Came out right after The Hunger Games. Divergent. I mean, just all kinds of stories. You know, Harry Potter, even, you know, about corrupted governments and basically having to take matters into your own hands and the fight for good and how that fight is long and how your rights can slip away without you even noticing. So all of us should be able to look and see the signs of what is happening. And if you are older than me, if you've ever gone to a slavery museum, a museum discussing the Holocaust, World War I, World War II, how those things happened, all of this should be really familiar to you. It should be seriously familiar to you. You know, my grandfather died a couple of years ago in 2015, maybe. And even he told me, he said, you know, keep an eye on what's going on because there's rumblings, and this is a lot of how it started, you know, back in the 40s. So, I think a lot of us have been seeing it coming, and here it is. So, buckle down. This is it. This is our reality, and no amount of not wanting it to be our reality is going to change things. So the best thing that you can do is just put your head down and push forward. Okay? But look around. Look, you know, keep the people next to you with you. Okay? We'll get through there. We'll do it. So, knitting. I have a finished object that I can't show you. I have a half object that you're not going to care about. I have a yarn store adventure to tell about, and I have a work in progress. Yeah, I think that's it. So the finished object I can't tell you about is this pretty number right here. This is the Rattlesnake Tee, and I knit it for Jamie Hoffman of Knitosophy. She was our featured designer for the last sweater raffle. More on that later. And she contacted me and basically said she had a really short deadline and did I have a slot, and I did. And so I rocked that out, and it was absolutely lovely. It is knit out of Neighborhood Fiber Company, Studio DK. The colors are really pretty. I'll correct it because I'm going to get at least one of these wrong, I think. The teal, I believe, is Edgewood. The gray is Ernest Shaw. The orange is Oaklee. And the sage green on the bottom is Rosemont. The teal is the only one I'm unsure of. So if that was wrong, then that would have been corrected. Yeah, it was super, super fun. It was really simple. The cactus that she has on there are knits and pearls. They're done in seed stitch, so whenever you run your hands over them, you can actually feel the bumps, and it's just super cute. So yeah, it was an absolutely lovely pattern. It was written very well. It was super fast to work up, and I'm done with that, and I have sent that back off to her, and yeah, so that was great. I intended to podcast last week so that you could at least see it, even if it wasn't blocked, just so you could at least see it. But I didn't. And then I blocked it Saturday maybe, and it was in the mail by Monday. So, yeah, so that's done, and that was a lot of fun. She was generous enough to let me keep any leftovers I had, and I had quite a bit of leftovers. So that was really amazing and super, super sweet of her. I'm really excited to make something with that, or maybe just get a hold of some more Studio DK and make myself a sweater or make myself a garment out of it, because it was really, really lovely to work with. My mug. I gotta tell you about my mug. So I bought my mug at the Natural Science and History Museum here in Houston, which is huge and amazing. And if you ever come to Houston, we have the second largest dinosaur exhibit in the continental North America. I think Canada beats us. We have some really fantastic stuff. One of our T-Rexes, they tell you, like, they can tell that it had cancer. It tells you how one of the other, like the Stegosaurus maybe, or the Brontosaurus, like how it died. We have some of the giant pteranodons. We have the skeletons of those. We have a massive sea turtle. We have all kinds of cool stuff there. It's insane. But the way that it is set up in the Dinosaur Museum is super, super fascinating. It starts you at the beginning of time and the beginning of life on Earth, and it winds you through the dinosaur age and then post-dinosaur age and then to like Neolithic man, and it's just amazing. It's absolutely amazing. If you come to Houston and you do nothing else, I suggest the Science Museum. It's fantastic. And obviously we can't do anything with it because of COVID, but their 4th floor has an energy hall, and almost all of it is hands-on stuff for your kids to touch and play with, and it talks about energy, how we get energy, how we drill, what fracking means, oil, solar, wind, nuclear, and it has like little, I don't know what they're called, like you go into a room and you sit in a chair and it's a simulator. So it's just like a video, and then like the floor will move and the chairs bounce and stuff, and it pretends to take you on an adventure. It's just really, really fun. The kids love it. So obviously that is closed due to COVID right now, but it is a permanent exhibit. If you ever come and it is open, that's wonderful. Please go. In their shop, which is also fantastic, they have this mug, and I can't show it to you because I have coffee in it, but it says the Unemployed Philosophers Guild of Brooklyn, New York, Constellation mug, best results, please use other sign. I love anything that is punny. So the Unemployed Philosophers Guild I think was really, really funny. And then I like anything that has like really, that's just funny. I just really like funny, quirky, kitschy stuff like that. Finished object, half object, have a half object. Yay, half object. Okay, my half object is this. It is a pair of socks. So in the summer, it's too hot to go outside, you guys. It's just ridiculous. So aside from mowing the lawn, occasional walks and bikes with my kid and my husband, and working out, which we can go to the gym. I'm not going to the gym. We have mats in the garage and a punching bag, and so I do all my workouts here at home. So those are like the 3 times where I'm okay with just really being hot. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna sweat it all out and get rid of all my stress, and then I'm come back in and I'm done. So we spend now, especially COVID, we spend a lot of time at home, obviously. And I knit for a job, so I have to be still for quite a bit of it. And then, you know, I also homeschool, and he's a really independent learner. Vlogmas. Vlogmas gets me through the summer. Every year, this is what I do. I find Vlogmas, and I just go for it. And I have favorites that I really enjoy. And then I have I've known about her. Katie from Inside Number 23. I know everybody knows about her, and I've known about her too, but I just never really got into her stuff, mainly because by the time I really realized who she was or found out about her, she had just taken off for maternity leave and then, you know, had a baby, and she didn't podcast for almost a year and a half. She's doing monthly diaries right now. I think she missed one. Anyway, if you look at her playlist, she has 4 years of vlogs. She loves to vlog. So she started her podcast with Vlogmas, and she does Vlogtober, and she did like a May vlog. And so anyway, there's just a whole bunch of vlogs to watch of her. And so that's been a lot of fun to do. But because of everybody's doing Vlogmas, or that's what I'm watching is everybody's Vlogmases, of course, I have the Christmas in July thing. And it's not as huge in Texas as it is like in Georgia, but it is still a thing. And so these are my Christmas socks. My husband has a pair of these from last year, and I've been wanting a pair of my own. This yarn is West Yorkshire Spinners 4-ply in the Holly Berry colorway. I don't remember what year. 2018 maybe. It might be a 2018 colorway. I don't know. But I just started the second one. I have the beginnings of the rolled cuff. and that is literally it. I knit all of my socks on Chiaogoo Mini Twists on size 0s. I use a 60 or a 64 inch stitch count. It just depends on the yarn. Yeah. My other work in progress is a brand new cast on. Super brand new. And it is in this book, which is the Celtic Journey by Knit Picks. And this is a really beautiful, beautiful book. It has some really, really amazing stuff. And the pictures are just phenomenal. So they have garments and they have accessories, and there is a beautiful throw blanket in here. Let me see if I can... Okay. So this is called the Storing Away Throw, and I've been wanting to knit this for years, and so now I have the book, and I will probably someday maybe cast that on. I don't know. The reason I have this book is because I worked out a deal with my bestie, and Julie of Sweet Sparrow Yarns has graciously agreed to sew me a advent calendar. Pattern is by So Sweet Violet. You can find it in her shop. She's going to sew me an advent calendar because I don't sew, and I told her that if she did that, I would knit her a sweater. And this is the sweater that she chose. So this is a cardigan. It's called the Dubline cardigan. Dubline has an E on it. It's Dublin with an E. So I'm trying to show it to you without showing you the pattern. So it has these really beautiful cable panels down the front, and it has a hood, and then the back of it is just plain stockinette stitch. And she sent me yarn for it. Let me get you a skein. Hold on. Okay. She sent me this Studio Donegal. This is the soft Donegal. It is from Kilcar County in Donegal, Ireland. Ireland. Yeah. So it has a shade number. It doesn't tell me what color this is. I don't know what color this is. Count corrected full condition. I don't know what that means. So it's 100% merino wool, and it is, yeah, like I said, spun in Kilcar County. And it is this really pretty lilac purpley color, and it has little tweedy blips of greens and blues and some purples and a little bit of orange. Anyway, so that's the color that she chose. And I have the beginnings of a little baby cuff for a sleeve. Yay me. So I used I took a page out of Brooklyn Tweed. I knit a lot of Brooklyn Tweed patterns, and I really like the tubular finish. Normally I do a sewn tubular bind off, and even if I have a cuff, usually I will start the bottom of the arm on waste yarn and then come back and knit the cuff down so I can use the sewn bind off. But I figured I would try out the tubular cast on, their 2x2 tubular cast on that they recommend. It's not always my favorite because it tends to be a little bit bulky at the very edges of the cuff, but I'm going to see how it works and see what I think of it. And if I hate it, I'll rip it out. It's not a big deal. This is a worsted weight yarn, and it is knitting super fast. I'm knitting it on size 5s for the cuffs, and I'll use size 7s for the body. Yeah. That squirrel bag. This is my Magpie bag. It's one of my favorites. I love it. So, I've talked about cast-ons. I have a work in progress to show you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Look at my little pin. Did you see it? I finally got one. I've wanted one of these pins for months. For years, probably. So I finally got a Nevertheless She Knitted pin from Nerdbird Makery. Okay. Not in the middle of the road. Yes, success. This is also to do with Julie. This is not the Julie Fan Club podcast this time, though. So, sorry, Julie, you had one. This is her Gosling base, which is an MCN, so Merino Cashmere Nylon. It is in the colorway Evergreen. I'm trying to situate it so you can see it because it's kind of finicky right now. This is my very first sweater raffle was featuring Hohi Locatelli and Julia Sweet Sparrow yarns. And the winner chose the Quiet Stars cardigan from Hohi, and she chose it in this beautiful evergreen color. So here's the beginning of the cardigan. And so this is it here. It has this really beautiful lace panel that comes down for the collar and the button band, quote unquote. The back of it is a really simple but beautiful texture stitch. And I basically joined it all on the needle. So it started here with this spine right in the middle, and then you knit one side of it, and then you went back and you put that on hold. You went back and you picked up stitches. You knit this side of it, you put that on hold. You picked up on the bottom and you added stitches on either side, and then you knit down for a while and you put that on hold. And then you picked up stitches on the side, picked up the stitches you had on hold, and then knit down on this side, and then you did it for this side. So there's lots of trading. But it is really clearly written, and it's super simple to do. It just sounds really complicated. It's not. So anyway, it has this giant panel, which is lovely. And it's going to be a really nice flowy cardigan. I've just started the bottom of the body, which is the same lace panel as the front. So the fronts will be textured. The top of the back will be textured. And then basically from mid-back, or bra strap area, I guess, if you wear a bra, it'll be all lace all the way down. And then it'll have ties to tie it close. And it's going to be super pretty, and it's working up really quickly. I'm really surprised how fast it's working, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's really fun, and it's not complicated at all. It's a decent travel project, you know. It's got a little bit going on, but it's super simple. It's really easy to tell where you are. The lace pattern is 6-row repeat. 3 of them are purls because you purl back. 1 of them is a plain knit row, and only 2 of them are yarn overs and knit 2 togethers or whatever. So there's 1 here, and then there's 1 here, and then it's a knit row. Super, super simple. I love it. Hohi is the queen of super simple stuff that looks amazing. Okay, let's see. Sweater raffle number 2 ended last month. We did draw a winner. The winner chose, the second sweater raffle featured Jamie Hoffman, again, as I spoke earlier, of Knitosophy Designs, and Kemper of Junk Yarn. And the winner chose to have the swallowtail sweater made out of Kemper's Lovely Yarn. I am still waiting for that to be sent to the knitter, and then that will be underway. I am going to start the next sweater raffle, so by the time you see this, well, it might be tomorrow. I'm going to start it on August 1st. I'm going to start the next sweater raffle on August 1st. I'm going to be featuring Allie of Explorer Knits and Caitlin Hunter of Boyland Knitworks. And I have not picked a charity yet, so that will go up tomorrow on Instagram, and I will let you know then who the charity will be for where all of our donations will go. So just to recap, our first sweater raffle with Hohi and Julie, we raised $900 to the Know Your Rights camp by Colin Kaepernick, founded by Colin Kaepernick. The second raffle featuring Jamie and Kemper, we raised $900 again to True Colors United, which fights teen homelessness in the LGBTQIA community. And I haven't decided on the third one yet. So I guess I should get around to doing that. There's just so much going on. You know, you want to help everybody. So yeah, I'll have to think about that. I don't have anything else as far as things I've been working on. I've been pretty much, I was very monogamous on the tee that had to get done, and then the raffle sweater obviously is my next priority. I basically cast on the cuff for Julie's Dubline cardigan just because I got, my hands were hurting from having to purl back on the fingering weight yarn. And then whenever I started the cardigan, I didn't really realize Knit Picks writes a really nice pattern in their books, but they are definitely not hand-holdy. So basically, until I read the directions, I didn't realize that the doubling was knit flat for the sleeves, that the sleeves were knit flat and then seamed. So basically, it tells you how many to cast on, and then it does not say join in the round. So that's the only reason I knew that it wasn't in the round, that it was supposed to be knit flat. I don't know, I might convert it to the round. We'll see. I probably will. Let's be fair. I'll probably convert it to the round. But if I knit them flat, I can do 2 at a time. I'm faster knitting flat for 2 at a time sleeves. And then I can be positive that they're going to be the same. Yeah, so I haven't really decided yet on that. Yeah. I'm chatty today, guys. This is all I got. We went on an adventure, a yarn store adventure. We went on a yarn store adventure. So my husband and I, spoken about this before, neither one of us does super awesome in quarantine. We're not bad at it by any stretch of the imagination, but we really like to travel. We love to travel. Can't really do that with COVID right now. So what we've been doing is little dive bomb trips. So from home to Galveston and back, which is like 70 miles one way. Home to Austin and back, it's a couple hours. Basically, we're just staying in the car with the exception of like restroom breaks, and everybody's super careful and distanced, and lots of hand washing and hand sanitizing and stuff like that. So that's our guilty pleasure, I guess, is the driving. Well, we want a kind of a longer trip. And so I suggested, I was like, there's a yarn store in Dallas that I've always wanted to go to. They just changed locations. Everybody there, I've been looking at their website and their Instagram. They're doing really good things with social distancing. They've got really good plans in place, and they're implementing good practices. They also have a sweater kit that I would very much like. Could we take a trip out? And he's like, yeah, of course we can do that. So we do that. And in one of the gas stations, actually, we found an Ethiopian market. And so I bought some injera. And for those of you who don't know, injera is it looks like a giant pancake, basically. It's made out of teff flour. And it is basically, it is the plate. And then they put the food on top of it. And in Ethiopia, with your right hand, you will pull off a piece of the injera and grab what you want. That's like your spoon. And it's a family meal. Everybody sits down and everybody just does this. So I found a market that carried really cool. It was still hot, so it came from like a local bakery or something, and that was amazing. And I got some advice from the guy at the counter on what to make with it, and so I did. I made a red lentil called Monsieur Watt, and that's what we had for dinner the next night. It was really neat. But we went out to McKinney Knittery. And McKinney Knittery is a beautiful yarn store, and they are very curated. They carry wonderful stuff. They carry Quince & Co. They carry Farmer's Daughter Fibers. They carry Woolberry. They carry Magpie, Stonehenge Fiber Mill, which is a rustic yarn. Yarn on the House. I mean, just all kinds of stuff, you guys. They carry everything from superwash, hand-dyed, to small mill, small batch, rustic yarns, and they carry fabric. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. And so I went up there, and I knew on their website they didn't have the kit that I wanted for the sweater that I was looking at. And they do a kit for the Shifty sweater, Andrew Mowry's Shifty sweater. And instead of using Spincycle, which they do carry, but instead of using Spincycle like Andrea did, they use Yarn on the House, which is much more cost effective. And they basically build a kit for it. I think it's 7 or 8 skeins or something, and they color coordinate it, and then they make this kit so you can make this sweater. And they didn't have the kit that I wanted, but I was hoping that they could tell me like what the colors were so I could kind of shop my stash and then maybe add in from some colors they might have had in the store. And they did. They had everything I needed, but while I was talking to one of the customer service reps, a lady who was there knitting overheard me, and she came up and she said, "Are you talking about the kit that they sold at DFW Fiberfest last year?" And I said, "Yes, I am. I wanted the pink one." And she was like, "I have that at home." I said, "Okay, well, yeah, that's wonderful, you know." Thinking like, "Hey, could you, you know, maybe like, do you remember any of the colorway names, right? You know, or could you call up to the shop and maybe they can, you know, shoot me an email or something with the colorway names?" And she was like, "Well, I don't think I'm gonna knit it. I could just give it to you. Would you like it?" And I was like, "Well, kind of, but I don't know that I want the whole kit." You know, I was trying to shop my own stash. And now here's this lady offering to sell me this full sweater kit that she just says that she doesn't want. And so I haven't decided yet. She's talking about selling it to me for a very, very, very low cost, which makes me really uncomfortable because it is like 8 skeins of lace weight yarn. So even if I do it, I will definitely pay her more than she is asking. But I just thought that was so sweet that she overheard it and came up and said, "I'm not going to use this. You know, if you would like it, you're more than welcome to have it," you know. And I think that's really demonstrative of this community and our giving. So anyway, while I was there, one of the things, I was looking for yarn. I wanted the shifty sweater, just kind of to see what they had and see if I could add it to my own stash and make my own version of it. Well, I don't know if you can see it, but behind me up here, I have 3 skeins of a gray from Farmer's Daughter Fibers and 2 skeins of this yarn, which is Spincycle in the Nostalgia colorway. This is the dyed in the wool. It's the sport weight yarn. And the shifty calls for more of the dyed in the wool than what I have. They want like 650 yards. These only come with 2, of course, and so I need 4. So my intention was to buy 2 of these so I could make the shifty sweater, but now she's offering me this kit of this. It's really pretty. I'll put a picture of it here. And that's the one I want. So I haven't really decided what I'm going to do, but now I have all of these, and so I need to do something with these now. But I don't have any plans yet. And then the other thing that I purchased while I was there, I've never used Magpie. And I know that there's a lot of discussion around Spincycle, Magpie, and Andrea Mowry because of her Spark cardigan. But I had never used Magpie and I didn't know anything about it. And so I went to go look at it. Magpie is dyed. Her name is Damie. It is dyed in Frederick, Maryland. This is her Swanky sock, which is an 80-10-10 merino cashmere nylon, 400 yards in 115 grams. So most skeins are 100, so you get a little bit extra and you don't get quite as much yardage, but your yarn is really plump. So this is a very nice fingering weight. This is the colorway is called Voices Carry. My husband picked this out. He said he really liked it. So I said that I would make him some socks. I actually wanted him to get the DK so I could make him a hat. I thought that this would be really lovely on him, but he's not a huge hat wearer and we live in Houston. So especially in the summer, he forgets how much traveling we do in the winter and how cold it is sometimes. Like, we went to New York last winter and he froze, but he would have liked a hat then. Anyway, so yeah, I got that so I can try it, which I'm really excited about. I'm not really a giant MCN fan. It pills a lot for me, and since that's what I make is garments, that's, I don't know, I don't dislike it. It's just not the one that I generally tend to go for. All right, I have prattled on at 1,000,000 miles an hour. I'm surprised any of you are still here if you are. But yeah, so we did that and we came home and like I said, lots of hand sanitizing in the car, lots of hand washing when we stopped at gas stations. We generally tend to stop at like one type of gas station. We usually stop at Buc-ee's because they implement social distancing. They try to implement social distancing, but basically there's always a full staff. And I think that probably 1/3 of their staff right now is just following everybody around with a cart and cleaning constantly. So every time you touch something, there's somebody right behind you with a rag, which is really wonderful and really appreciated in this time of what we're doing. You know, we live in a red state. And so you do have some people who think that the whole thing is a hoax or who don't want to, abide by any of it because, you know, the guy on TV isn't doing it. So, that's always something to be considerate of. You know, we do our level best. We do our best to stay safe, you know, and then we're not seeing family or anything like that. My husband's job, is essential. And so, we haven't had the opportunity to, we have chosen not to socialize in most respects, because you can control what you do, but when you're essential, you can't control what your coworkers do. And when you work with a bunch of people who think it's a lie or it can't happen to them, all you can do is try to keep yourself safe, right? So anyway, that is about all I've got for the day. So yeah, I think that that's all I have for today. Thanks so much for sitting down and spending a little bit of time with me this weekend or whenever you happen to see this. I hope that you are doing well and everything is good. And as soon as I get off of this podcast, I'm going to be like, dang it, I didn't talk about whatever it was. But I really can't think of anything else. I think I'm pretty much caught up, and I think now you are too. So yeah, happy Friday, happy weekend, and I will talk to you soon.